Alan Girding, and this is Too Many Games in a Room, the show where I'm trying to get rid of my games. This is the episode that a lot of viewers have been waiting for. Knaves, Knights, viewers alike have wanted to know, how do I get a hold of some of these games that you're getting rid of? How do I get it off your hands if you don't want it? Well, one answer is eBay, but the other answer is Mark Slack. Mark, hey, this is my friend Mark. Say hi to everyone at home.
Hi, everyone at home.
Mark, how do we know each other?
We're convention friends from back in the day.
In fact, you're one of my first convention friends.
Yeah, exactly. Me too.
I remember specifically it was Moustache Games.
That's right. Moustache Games was a small company that my friends from college and I put together in 2009.
Okay.
We put out 2 products, Hike and Rowboat.
I remember them very well.
Family-friendly card games. We came into our first Origins and Gen Con in 2009 with some games and no knowledge of what to do with them.
And I don't know if I was just like going from booth to booth and we jived together or something like that, but pretty soon I was slinging games.
You were helping us out. The best demo person we ever had.
Ah, keep stepping it.
Yeah, well.
But you are an eBay aficionado?
That's one way to describe me, yes.
How would you describe you?
I am a nerdy cyber merchant. Board games, action figures, comic books, collectibles of all kinds. I've been a collector since I was a little kid, and that's actually one of the things that drew me into the board game hobby. I was a big Dungeons and Dragons kid. I loved comic books, action figures, anything I could get my hands on. Once I graduated college, I went into acting.
Oh.
As an aspiring actor, your choices are limited for how you're going to make the money because you do the acting for free. A lot of people do waiting tables, right? That's the stereotype.
The classic LA thing. You go to LA, you wait tables until you make your break.
Exactly.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
I was an early adopter of the eBay platform when it first launched. I was in college. It was really because of my love of collecting. It was a great way for me to get things for my collection. So when I went into acting, instead of waiting tables, I started buying and selling on the internet.
Wow. So you've been doing this for a long time.
I spent about 15 years in a live performance. We took one of our shows off Broadway.
Nice.
And I still do some of that work. And I occasionally book a commercial or something as an extra.
Is there something you'd want to share that we can play on this video right meow? I'm learning so much about you. I didn't know any of this stuff. I feel like a bad friend.
No,
because
that's
like,
all right.
So you're this cyber merchant, and I knew that after not playing these games for so long, I contacted you. You sent me a list, a very specific list.
Very specific.
I have this list right here, and you have a copy of it as well. Mm-hmm. Now, I have to ask, this list is like a sniper shot.
That's right.
At some very specific games. Mm-hmm. And there are some games that I was surprised wasn't on this list. We'll go through this list so you know I'm not shortchanging you, and you're gonna give me some money for them, a pre-agreed upon amount.
Correct.
Which if you're comfortable, I'll share it with the audience at home. And then what I always said is that I'm gonna share 25% of whatever I get to charity. Mm-hmm. What makes a cyber merchant choose specifically these games that you've picked? What was your process? Or is this the secret sauce that you don't want to share?
No, I definitely would love to share the secret sauce. Okay. I like talking about it, and as a solo owner-operator of a basement dungeon full of collectibles, I don't have co-workers. So I love talking shop, and I don't have anybody to talk to.
That's a really good point. You don't have that whole watering hole that you can go ahead and gather around.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, before we get into this, another question.
Okay.
Collectibles.
Yes.
You still have a lot of your own collectibles, I'm assuming.
Yes.
So I imagine when you came into my basement, this wasn't a big deal. You probably even have more games than this in some warehouse. I don't know. You've seen more than this, and maybe you yourself have a bigger collection. What's your biggest collection that you're most proud of?
My biggest collection that I'm most proud of?
Yeah.
That's not a great question, because a big collection, I am not proud of having a big collection.
I love this though, because that's a whole continuum of cultivating versus just mad collecting.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to do here, is keep the precious few. In fact, everything you see on this shelf behind you has made my keep collection.
Aha.
And you notice there's this big blank space behind you. I have room to spare, and it looks ugly in my opinion because I need to get some extra shelving to hold it. But what you see back here is my preliminary keep. And it's just under 200 games, and I'd love to get it down to 150. But man, those 50 is gonna be emotional. So I'm with you. I'm trying to be the cultivator.
My business is primarily convention-based.
Oh.
Buying and selling at conventions is big for me.
Speaking of which, this weekend,
The
Origins.
Origins.
And you're in Columbus.
I am.
Will these games on this list show up at Origins somehow?
That's right. If people would like to buy them, they can connect with me on social media or Board Game Geek.
I will include all that in the description below, so if you're watching this right now, you can just scroll on down and see that contact information. Get in touch with Mark if you're going to Origins this weekend.
That's right.
You can get those games, and if not, they'll end up on eBay.
They're probably going mostly to Amazon, but a few on eBay.
Okay, that makes sense. How do you come up with this sniper laser-focused list? What is the algorithm for you to figure out, well, this will sell, I want that game?
As a solo owner-operator with no employees, in order to make it in the reseller game, I gotta be lean and I gotta be mean. And I try to take things that satisfy two criteria. One, how much money can I make on it? Two, how fast will it sell?
And this all has to come down to what I'm assuming is warehousing.
Correct.
Do you own a warehouse?
No, I rent a warehouse from Amazon. I'm an Amazon seller.
Right. A lot of people at home don't know, because we used to sell through Amazon as Tuesday Night Games. They will charge you a warehousing fee for taking up space in the warehouse.
Correct.
So there's this balancing act of making sure that there's always something to sell there.
Right.
So you have this continual flow of money, but you don't want to backlog. So ideally, the warehouse is empty right when they're about to charge you.
Right.
It's kind of like your credit card bill. You want to pay it off right before they charge you interest on it.
Exactly.
And so if you have this backlog, you're just wasting money and throwing it away, that kind of stuff.
Now, the nice thing about Amazon for me is scalability, because I send inventory to them and they do the picking, packing, and shipping. They deal with the customer service. I can just keep sending them stuff and keep sending them stuff, and they'll keep accepting it, and they charge me a small amount of money for warehousing, and I don't have to fill up my basement with all of that bulk.
That being said, do you have a basement or designated area in your home that is transitional between Amazon and whatnot?
Yes, because Amazon is one of many sales platforms that I have.
Right,
So,
eBay being another one.
eBay being another one. And then I have actually a lot of direct sales through social media, and I do a lot of sales on specialized sites such as tcgplayer.com. That's for trading card games, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh.
How full is your area at home?
More full than this, for sure. I've got bins and bins and bins and bins stacked up on shelves.
What's that like for your family? Is that just an always kind of accepted thing? Like, this is our warehouse area of our house?
Well, up until last year, it was starting to get a little bit burdensome for my family. Then we bought a new house.
Wow, congrats!
Thank you very much. We moved this year. As part of that process, we made sure to buy one that had home office space for my home warehousing.
It has to move and it has to sell.
Correct.
Those are your two criteria.
Right. It has to sell for an amount of money that
It's worth your time.
is worth my time. That's correct.
Yeah, in fact, you drove all the way up to the Cleveland area from Columbus.
That's right. About an hour and a half.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You must have driven, because usually it takes, you must be on the northern end of
I'm on
Columbus.
the northern end of Columbus.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, because it's usually a solid 2 hours for me. I want to support, obviously, myself. I want to support my friend, but I also want to support charity. And the charity I'm choosing for the money I get from you, by the way, I'm excited to say, is the Cleveland APL, the Cleveland Animal Protective League.
Oh, I know that's something that's really dear to your heart, so that's great.
Yeah, because literally at our feet right now is my dog Bree, where I got from the Cleveland Humane Society.
Oh, okay.
And so I get emails like this one that I'm going to show on the screen right here. Puma, the 4-year-old retriever/German Shepherd mix, came to the Cleveland APL through our Humane Investigations Department after his owner passed away, leaving him and 2 other dogs all alone. When Puma arrived, our team noticed that he had a limp. Our amazing veterinary team immediately performed x-rays where we learned that he had arthritis in his left hip and moderate dysplasia. We're even more concerned by the discovery that his right ACL was torn. Our team started Puma on medication to help manage his pain while they determined the best treatment plan for him. Because he's so young, we want to ensure that Puma has a chance at a healthy, happy life, and with your help, we are sure that we can give him that opportunity
opportunity. To give Puma a second chance, he will need a specialty surgery that will cost at least $2,100 to repair his torn ACL. Can you make a life-changing gift right now to help give Puma a chance at a happy, healthy future? Donate now.
I know that my dogs I always get from the Cleveland Humane Society, and the Cleveland APL has saved their life. Man, the amount of smiles these dogs have brought me, totally buy. So I know that's a very almost sniper-esque charity because it's very specific to me, my home, but there's gonna be more charity opportunities in the future. So I wanna thank you for taking the time because you're really helping future dogs out. Cleveland Animal Protective League is what you're gonna be supporting today.
Great, and just to let you know, the fact that you're giving money to charity is really dear to my heart, especially during the weird times that we're in right now. So the offer that I've given you is quite a bit larger than I would normally pay for this kind of thing.
Sweet. Well, you have any questions for me before we go on?
Yes.
Hit me with those questions.
Okay. So really, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the emotional experience of giving up your babies.
So it gets more and more stressful as it goes on. Last week's video, I tried to reduce 125 games down to 12, and there was no acting in that video. Like, I was getting angry and frustrated and sad. It was an emotional experience.
You could see it through the video.
No acting, yeah, like that was sincere. Yeah. And I was doing the rationalization, the defense mechanism. As a psychology professor, I'm always talking about how we're so full of these defense mechanisms where we try to protect some part of ourselves. And it was coming up where I was coming up with excuses, this rationalization of, well, Dixit doesn't count because I'm using it as an expansion and expansions don't count, etc.
Right.
I will say one of the real satisfying things is that gap behind your head with that empty space. Even though it's really ugly, it means, oh my goodness, I did it. Like, I have room to spare. I have room for more games if I wanted to on my shelf. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole though. It has been tough, but at the same time, once I put all these games on the shelf, the amount of relief and satisfaction,
you're
totally
worth it. You're going to be very happy at the end of the process, I guarantee.
Yeah, because right now, off camera, there's still shelves and shelves full of this. I have this game table here. I mean, no game has left yet. And we're leaving today with you, packing it into your van, these almost 90 games.
Yes.
Any other questions for me?
Yes, I kind of wanted to chat with you a little bit about collections at large. Like, why do we collect? And what is it that makes it so emotionally tied to our personalities?
Yeah.
I work with so many collectors of all shapes and sizes, not the people, the collections.
Right. Well, probably the people too.
Probably the people
too.
And in my position as a reseller, I'm having to put a price number on their dreams, memories, and nostalgic history for what they have. And that is an emotional line that I have to walk with people all the time.
Yeah.
I've been through this with you. We've been talking about this process for maybe a year now.
You've been just ushering me through because obviously you've done this before.
That's right.
So thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure. Well, it's an emotional experience. A collection is, just like I said, an expression of your personality, kind of a roadmap of where you've been in your life. But at some point, we feel like we're walking the line between hoarder and collector. My advice to collectors of all kinds is always try to make sure that your collection is a living collection. If you have a large amount of items, have you touched it in the last year? Have you enjoyed it? Is it something that you currently experience in your life? I feel like a good collection should continuously be added to, but also continuously culled. The analogy of a garden. If you're a gardener, you gotta pull the weeds.
Sometimes you find something that etches out an identity that says, I'm here, but it's bad. Oh, I'm a jerk. This is who I am. And you have a bad identity, but you hold on to it because what's scarier than being a jerk is not knowing.
Not having identity.
Yeah. But I can go on and on. I mean, I love this psychology stuff. But long story short, I think you nailed it. The reason that we collect and potentially hoard is it's an identity thing.
Right.
And eventually it can become as indisposable as food itself, because without it, Who am I?
And for me, a lot of the times when I'm buying collections, I'm buying someone's childhood. I'm buying the dreams that they had of who they were going to be as adults.
Yeah.
The tastes that they loved back in the day. People get very, very...
protective
and...
maybe resentful if you take it from them?
Exactly. So I have to...
So you're the bad guy. You're basically like the social worker that's ripping the kid away from the family.
That's right.
But don't they come to you and ask for your help?
Well, sometimes they do, but sometimes I'm the one knocking on their door. I do a lot of garage sale business, for example, where folks are downsizing and they're giving stuff away, not for the money, but primarily to reclaim the space in their house. And I'll often ask those people, do you have any collectibles, comic books, board games? That's when I get into the conversation where they get very defensive. And some people will say...
Stop looking at my Hero Quest.
Right, exactly, which I'm looking at right now.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love that stuff. And you got some that I don't have, so great.
I have the Hero Quest expansions. I don't have the Barbarian or Elf. That stuff is gangbusters.
You can't find them, though. People get very insulted, and then a great conversation turns into a hasty exit by me because I'm realizing this person's getting far too emotional. They want far more value than their items are actually worth in the secondary market.
So you just Batman out of there?
That's right. And that's something that I definitely had fear about along the way because you're a passionate collector about board games, but you also value games in a different way than I do. Getting those two things to align can be tricky for a collector.
Yeah, I'd like to think I'm a big empath, so I understand your point of view. I wouldn't want to just hitch my old crap on you and you won't be able to do anything with it.
We're friends. We've already established a certain level of trust. It's not necessarily there when I'm dealing with strangers.
Yeah.
So.
I don't think we've had a knockout drag out fight because here's my little pro tip. The way you know you have a really close friend is that you have that fight that you both apologize for and you get over. It's almost the same thing in like loving relationships too. Like you see so many couples like, oh, we're getting married. And it's like, have you had your first fight? No, we don't fight. Like then you need that fight.
Yeah.
Like you have to be with each other long enough to annoy the shit out of each other before you should really put a ring on that thing.
I completely agree.
So anyway, so we haven't had that knockout drag out fight yet.
Correct.
So let's get into this, you son of a bitch.
All right.
All right. Ann's End Legacy. That makes sense to me. Book it. The deck building game about pro wrestling. Boom, there it is.
Book it.
Clue, the bookcase edition, which surprised me because Clue, I would think you can buy it at any frickin' store, so why is that even on the list? Is it because it's the bookshelf edition?
That's correct.
Boom,
You nailed it.
You see what I have here now, though? This is what I got.
I love this set.
I know, I wanted to get them all, but then that's getting to that hoarding thing, because I just wanted to do the collector where I have a whole bookshelf of all of those.
That's right. Clue is going to appeal to every human.
Mass market.
Everybody's heard of it. It makes it easy to sell. Hobbyists often will eschew games like this. I make my money on buying the mass market stuff off of hobbyists who don't want that stuff around.
Makes perfect sense. Elementos, which really surprised me because that one was a Kickstarter. I was surprised you even knew what Elementos was.
Well, I didn't know what Elementos was.
Okay.
One of the reasons that I was really excited to get a shot at this collection was because of the education that I was going to gain from going through everything on my terms and pricing it all out. I have learned so much and really leveled up my game in the board game category just by pricing out every single one of these using my sales venues and using my personal metrics.
You're talking about my specific game collection?
Talking about your game collection.
Wow. I would say probably 50% of my collection, Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So that's probably why then, I'm assuming.
Which is good and also bad for me.
I would assume so, because good in that it's that niche where it's like, oh my goodness, this is out of print.
Right.
There's collector values, but also there's a reason why some games are out of print.
Exactly. And I have such a love and hate relationship with Kickstarter.
Bargain Quest. Now this one I was remiss because I love Jonathan Yang, the designer, creator of Bargain Quest. I got the I'm all in his last Kickstarter. Everything is in there, including the 8-Bit Theater, the Acquisitions Incorporated, the Chaotic Goods. Same story, Zombicide, Black Plague. This one's opened, everything else is closed. I opened up this one because I wanted to look inside, but yeah. Wolfsburg is closed, and then all the stinking expansions and miniatures. And this is how much of a Kickstarter addict I was. I don't remember even backing it. Oh my God.
This kind of game has a devoted fan base that's only playing this kind of game and they want every bit of it. That makes it perfect for my inventory.
So do you think that will all go together in one sell?
I will probably break it up because if I'm selling a large bundle, I have to discount. And if I'm selling things as individual items...
And that's the difference, because when you're a cyber merchant, you have the time and patience to do that.
Right.
First Martians, which is right here. That one surprised me because it was a freebie at Board Game Geek Con.
I don't think it's a very great game, honestly, but it's the kind of game that if somebody's really into Mars, they're going to try it out. I know I can sell this at Christmas time.
I assumed you'd only want to be buying unopened games. I thought, oh, he's just going to buy all of my unopened games because he can put them right on Amazon. But no.
Just because a game is still sealed, sometimes there's a reason it's still sealed because nobody wants that game.
Well, that's an interesting point. Unemployed mass market game. Grackles. I love fireside games.
Me too.
Justin DeWitt. How to Host a Murder, the Chicago Caper. I have a few more of these, but this is the only one that's not opened.
Right. Once the shrink wrap is gone off of the game, the value often just completely disappears. And
it's like a car that drives off the lot as soon as you drive it off the lot.
That's right. As soon as you drive it off the lot, you lose money.
But with murder mysteries, that's true too.
It's been played before.
But that's crazy because there's nothing that you throw away or change in this. It's totally replayable to a new group. So I would think if I wanted to host a murder mystery party, I should totally go to the used game thing because why not?
But this particular game, once the shrink wrap is off, nobody wants it. And so it sells for such low prices.
That's so weird.
I could absolutely sell it, but not at a price that makes it worth my time.
Because part of my goal is to upsell you on some of these things. Like, do you want the other ones? But it sounds like no.
No, I'm a pass on anything but this one.
Jetpack Joyride is an app. I keep my video games and my board games separate. Can you think of any video games that have been made into a board game that are just...
Not really.
If you can, leave a comment, because I want to know what's the best video game that has turned into an amazing board game. Not the other way around. There's plenty of other examples.
I was just going to say, the other way around, there's a ton.
There's a ton of great board games that have transformed into great games. And for instance, what's the Dungeons & Dragons worker placement one?
Lords of Waterdeep.
Yeah, I love that app.
That's one of my top 10 games. I just love it. It does all the fiddly stuff for you.
King Domino, Spiel Jahres. I played it online. Case in point, I think the reason I'm getting rid of it is I can play it online for free.
Okay. I'm not going to have trouble selling King Domino.
Exactly.
This is as close to mass market as the hobby market gets.
Marital Bliss.
Another sneaky thing for me, in my business, I have shipping costs. And I love items like this. No storage space out of my basement. Money per ounce. Easy yes for me.
So size matters.
Gloomhaven is the ultimate example.
The air conditioning unit that can kill someone if it falls from a window.
I don't want anything to do with Gloomhaven unless I'm selling it in a convention setting. I don't lose all my money in warehousing and shipping fees.
Millennium Blades.
Millennium Blades.
Right there. That is a big game. Dense.
Yeah.
Look at that thing.
Never played it, but I do know it sells well.
New York! Okay. One Deck Dungeon. They have that on Steam. You can play that as a video game. Orleans. I do enjoy Orleans. Pandemic. Living through it.
It's always been a perennial seller for me, so I went ahead and put it on the list.
Project Elite and the Project Elite Alien Pack.
Many people love their mini games.
Sherlock Holmes, Consulting Detective. You wanted both of mine. I almost didn't let this one go, but I have to admit, Chronicles of Crime beat it for me.
Just edges it out.
This one makes you feel like a dum-dum or a genius.
Right. I feel like this one wins on theming. You've got little pieces of newspaper that you're going through. And
yeah, it's so tactile. This, if I was going to do a solo game, it would be this. Because this is an experience you can't get online.
Right.
Skull Hollow. Here's a little upsell for you. Forgot there's a promo pack in there.
Hey.
So when it comes to writing that check at the end, do promo sell?
The answer is yes.
Sunset Over Water. Here we go. Sunset Over Water. Another pencil first game. King's Armory. Tower Defense board game. This surprised me. The Lord of the Rings trading card game. Apparently, it's still alive in some people's hearts.
Yes, it is. A very, very few people's hearts, but it's out of print.
$4 is what you're giving me for that.
That's
meaning
right.
that you're going to probably make at least 8 on that. That's what you're buying.
That's right. And that's after my fees.
The Manhattan Project Energy Empire. I love me some Minion games because James Matthey, rest his soul, love that guy. So we have the Zorro dice game and a promo that came with it. Pull the pin games. And then here is, it's expansion.
You sold me this game in your video description of Pull the Pin Games, and I'm a Zorro nut.
So this is for you.
This is for me.
You'll have to let me know how it is, maybe even comment. Tiny Epic Quest and Tiny Epic Western plus the playing cards. Here's the playing cards that goes with Tiny Epic Western. These are always solid games. Once again, when you see Tiny Epic in front of something, you know that at the very least you're getting a good game. Trogdor! Bernadetta. This one was hard for me to give up.
Obviously.
I mean, if you're not a fan, then you don't understand.
Right.
It's like,
It's some of the only Trogdor memorabilia there is.
I don't know the playability, and I kind of don't want to find out. Ignorance is bliss. When I'm trying to get rid of things, I don't want to know that I'm missing out. If it's amazing, don't let me know in the comments below. Ultimate Werewolf Legacy. Did you play this with me at all?
No, you guys got this started, and I realized it was going to be a journey, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it was like a 12-hour marathon of us just going all the way through it. Did I tell you the little salt behind this? No. I created a character as a cross-promotional thing for the Ultimate Werewolf Kickstarter. And I came up with Dr. Boom, who I was trying to make a mascot. On my pin right there, that's TK.
Yeah, right.
Dr. Boom was supposed to be like his nemesis or whatever. And so I created Dr. Boom, and his ability was, when Dr. Boom dies, so do the people sitting next to him. Pat on the back, Alan, that's a pretty good werewolf character that I've never seen. And Dr. Boom is a huge part of Werewolf Legacy. Except he's not called Dr. Boom anymore. Ripped of the credibility there, but not a big deal. If I was insecure, it would probably really bother me, but I love the fact that I get to tell that story every time. We didn't play test this, and I've got these three right here, and you only wanted the ones that weren't open.
That's right.
Werebeasts. World of Warcraft trading card game. This surprised me as well because I'll be honest, I couldn't get rid of this.
This is really, really hard to find overseas.
I like this more than Magic the Gathering.
You would be a Hearthstone fan then.
Oh yeah. Yahtzee Deluxe Edition. I'm assuming this falls under the same reason of Clue.
Same reason. Mass market.
You wanted my Tales of the Arabian Nights, you son of a gun.
Yes.
No way am I giving up.
There it is.
There it is.
Beautiful. Love this game. It's wonderful.
And there's been games that have tried to capture that same thing. For instance, which I was surprised you didn't want. Seventh Continent. Unopened, all the expansions, you didn't want Seventh Continent.
This theme sells this game.
Yeah.
Seventh Continent, what is that? That doesn't speak to anyone who doesn't know, isn't already in the hobby.
Got it. So Seventh Continent doesn't sell as well as this would then.
No.
Because there's also Agents of Smersh right here, and that's another one of these, I don't know what you'd call them, adventure book games?
Storytelling games, almost like a choose-your-own-adventure.
Yeah, but
pseudo-role-playing.
with this game though, I gotta tell you. Now here's the cool thing, and maybe I can make another video of this if you're interested, but the way that I play it is slightly modified, because if you look at this playtime, it says 120 minutes.
That's right.
30 minutes.
How do you do it?
Well, first of all, I'm the all-time reader, so people are just boom, boom,
Okay.
boom, 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 so you're not wasting time passing the book. But if you want to know the other way, you'll have to put a comment down below and I'll make another video of how to make it. I mean, that's probably the extreme case is 30 minutes, depending on how many players you have.
Sure.
But I'll definitely say under an hour. Vast the Crystal Caverns.
Yes.
They use the same artist for all their games.
And they put out great products. I love Leader.
So you wanted the Pixel Lincoln bonus packs, but I also have the open game.
Right.
But you didn't want that.
Why? Because this is a gift from my son who has Pixel Lincoln but does not have the bonus pack.
Dang it, that makes sense. Mystery Solve. Onirim, one-player game.
The app is great. I play it all the time. It's a one-thumb game. I love it.
Minotaurus and the other Lego games. My question is, I have another one, the Lava Monster. Why didn't you want the Lava Monster?
Out-of-print Lego sells really well, except when it doesn't.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so I can't upsell you there. I tried. Lords of Scotland.
It's this version. I wondered which one you had.
Is that not the one you wanted?
No, it's totally fine.
Okay, because you can change your mind if you want to.
That's all right.
Apocrypha, and I taped the promo to the side right there.
Perfect.
Iron and Ale, where you give a Dwarven Kiss, which is a slap across the face. Now, with that in mind, I have Drunk Quest. Do you not want Drunk Quest?
No, this is the one I want.
You wanted my Mafia to Cuba? How dare you?
In fact, every video that's come out over the past few months, every time you swipe right, I'm like, oh, he's taking all the money. Oh, he's taking the good stuff.
When you're looking at this right here, you're like, oh yeah, that's the stuff.
almost this whole shelf.
Is there something that stands out here that you're like, oh yeah, I wouldn't take that? Like what are you thinking?
Lupin Louie.
You disagree with Lupin Louie? You don't like Lupin Louie? Have you played Lupin Louie?
I have played Lupin Louie. I'm not trying to poop on your cornflakes.
No, it's fine. Poop on my cornflake. I don't care.
I think you had Lupin Chewy as well. Lupin Chewy outsells it, and I still don't want Lupin Chewy.
Flapjacks and Sasquatches. Here's the Cup of Joe expansion, unopened. Cool. Choose Your Own Adventure House of Danger.
I've always wanted to try it. I was a big Choose Your Own Adventure guy in the 80s.
Cardline Globetrotter. I'm surprised because you didn't want the animal one, which I have.
Right.
But that one sells apparently.
No, it doesn't, but I know that my wife loves Timeline.
Acquire I can't get rid of because you wanted my Acquire. Look at this, beautiful.
It's gorgeous and highly collectible. This is one of the top ones that sells.
Yeah, I can look at your estimate there. Oh, $12.75. Wow, I'm a little surprised. I thought maybe it would even go higher than that. So, are you admitting you're undercutting me? What's going on here? You son of a gun! Get out of my house!
It depended on the edition that you had, because there's been several editions of this. Actually, I thought it was a different edition. I didn't realize it was the actual vintage one. I thought it was a later reprint.
I love it. This is so much fun. Frog Juice. I've got kids. I'm trying to get them into board gaming, some activities. Almost any game from Game Right Game is just great. Article 27, another freebie, I think from Board Game GeekCon. It's in the shrink wrap. It looks great. But then as soon as you open it, the box goes like me in middle school, frail and easy to pick on. Assyria. Another free game. Hot Rod Creeps. There you go. Okay, Leaders of Euphoria. Now here's the upsell. I found promo card, which should be taped to it somewhere. Oh, there it is. You're welcome. A little extra, a little pfft. I was surprised that Warcraft the board game wasn't on your list. And I'm pretty sure this one is an eBay spectacular, especially if you have the expansions and whatnot. I don't have the expansions. How'd that miss your view?
So with this particular one, you're right. The expansions go for a lot more than the base game does.
And that's why it missed your grasp?
Well, I was also trying to make cuts based on, am I allowed to spoil what's happening next video and who the next person's coming? So originally, I was going to come in and buy the entire collection. A lot of inventory that was just going to sit around. I was going to have to home warehouse a lot of it. When we got towards the end of the process, Alan here got contacted by a local board game tavern who was interested in buying the entire collection.
I was so worried too because I've been talking with Mark. Right. You've been grooming me, helping me go through this whole thing. The last thing I want to do is just betray your trust.
But I know that your sensibilities are that you wanted to give back to charity. You wanted to give to me to help a small business grow, and you want to give back to the hobby. And I just realized, rather than some LGS buying you out or some large reseller buying you out, a board game cafe is actually the perfect destination for your collection, because obscure games might be a burden to me, but they're a boon for a board game cafe. Aficionados of board games who have played everything can go to a board game cafe, and if they see something they've never played before, that's an entire evening of fun for them.
And maybe that's a sign of legitimacy for that cafe.
A great example is the Omega Virus.
Yeah, and so that's why you didn't want mine.
That sells great for me. I would have been able to do really well on the Omega Virus.
But you think it deserves to go to...
It deserves to go to a board game cafe. It belongs in a museum.
I love it.
So that's why you only got 90 buys from me instead of maybe 250.
That's amazing. I'm so glad you told me that.
Yeah, well, Warcraft was in that category.
Everything we have here, minus Warcraft, and I made it using the prices you gave, came to $1,123.32.
Yeah.
Let's try to just make it a nice flat $1,250.
That's right.
So what can I throw in there to spice it up? Warcraft. Behind you, there is a red bag, Mark, and I want you to go ahead and pick up that red bag, and we're going to look in there, and I'm going to walk you through some of the treats in here to try to upsell you. This is the 1 second slicer as seen on TV.
All right.
It slices things in 1 second, and the story is we have to order from Amazon when we're about to sell at a convention. We use Amazon for warehousing, or at least we used to. I need a whole bunch of copies of Two Rooms and a Boom, World Championship Russian Roulette, That's Not Lemonade, Mothership shipped to us, etc. And they made a mistake, and they shipped me an entire box of 1 second slicers. And they seem to sell well on eBay. I have a box of 12 of them. If you want, and you can say no to any of these, you can have to up it. And doing the math, I'd give each of those to you for $2.50 since they go for about 20 plus online, and therefore figured that's like 30 bucks extra onto that. So if you're interested, you can have the box of 1 second slicers.
1 second slicer is in.
Yeah, seriously?
In.
Man. All right, here's a long shot. This is an old Avalon Hill game catalog. You're looking it up to see if it's worth anything?
I am.
It has really cool games in there from the old days. Squad Leader, Cross of Iron. Look at these full color pictures. It's worth wiping your butt with. Pass. If I gave it to you, would you do anything with it? No?
Yeah, I'll do something with it if I have it.
Sure, we'll just throw it in there for a good faith.
Throw it in.
Copies of Two Rooms and a Boom and Necroboomicon.
Love it.
Now here's the big deal about these. This is the first print. And most people don't know this because we don't advertise this. We had to make some changes from the first print run to the second print run. The first print run, there's this red maroon line on the side there, whereas the current versions go all the way around.
Got it.
The first printing has larger leader cards in there, but the color consistency is better in the second printing. The average person doesn't notice. We're running out of Two Rooms and a Boom, and with the freighting issue, if you sit on these go for a lot.
I'm in on Two Rooms and a Boom.
Here's the other thing. These are out. Can't get these anymore except through Mark and whoever else is selling them. So
if you want some of this stuff, reach out to me on social media at ActualSlack.
There you go.
Instagram, Board Game Geek, and Twitter.
And we'll put that in the description below so you'll have that as well. But I'm assuming they'll only go boop, 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 boop. Because if you're not aware, there's a freighting crisis going on in China. We can't afford to keep on printing Two Rooms and a Boom right now. So there's going to be a gap in availability of Two Rooms and a Boom. Please buy all our shit on our website. Sign up for our newsletter. We'll let you know when it's available again. I don't know if we're square with that for the 1,250. You let me know if you feel that's not enough or if that's good.
My friend, we are square.
All right, $1,250?
You got it.
$1,250. So that means with this money, $1,250, if I'm giving 25% to the Cleveland Animal Protective League, I'm going to be writing a check or whatever it's called for $312.50 if math serves me correctly.
And it does.
Thank you so much. My dogs thank you.
Hey, I thank you because this is going to help me and my family. My kids get to eat because I bought your games.
Man, that's awesome. And if you want to support Mark, don't forget, all the information will be in the description below.
If you have any questions about what I do, or if you have a collection for sale, just reach out to me at ActualSlack on social media or Board Game Geek.
Thank you so much, sir. Have fun. Hey, thanks for watching. Share the shit out of this episode. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Bye.